Well, this has been a long time coming, hasn't it? So hey guys, how we doing? I, at the moment of recording this video, have read the first 100 chapters of One Piece, and I am absolutely loving it. And so every time I get so far within One Piece, I'm going to check out one of Totally Not Mark's One Piece reviews, and then I found there are other videos I can check out as I progress. So this is going to be a fun little ride. Do you like my straw hat parrot hat? Ha! I'm absolutely loving it. I am loving One Piece so much. I thought it was going to be really hard to get into, but I'm just taking my time every morning, reading some chapters, and it's boss. And I'm buying the mangas as well as I go, so that's how much I like it. I'm waiting for volumes 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 to come through the post. So, yeah, but anyway, let's get into this 100% blind One Piece review, Part 1, Romance Dawn. I love the characters, I love everything. I love how when we learn backstories about people and things. Boss! Ah!
According to my most recent
report,
has specifically stopped over 75% of people from even
I thought it was going to stop me getting into it, but I'm loving it.
One Piece, the magnum opus of one mangaka, Eiichiro Oda, since 1997. This man has been spending what I can only assume
the world building's class as well, the maps and everything. It's just
as I'm writing this video, there are almost 1,000 chapters available to read.
So I'm 10% of the way there. Yay! That's class.
I need to throw caution to the wind to bring a manga every single place I go, and I need
I'm even taking it to work and on my break just reading some pages. Oh, bless.
I know nothing about this series. I have never in my life watched a single episode or read a single chapter of the story.
No.
I am a simple Dragon Ball fan exploring for the very first time the most popular and currently Shonen Jump manga of all time.
Oh, that looks boss.
More popular than Naruto, more popular than Galgo 13, even more popular than Dragon Ball. This is my first impression of the greatest high seas adventure manga has to offer. Today I review Eiichiro Oda's modern epic, One Piece.
You see, I'm manga only, so I have no idea about the music and stuff.
All the way to the end of the Baratie arc, which takes us about 68 chapters into the manga.
Sweet!
What can I say? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, and my adventure starts now. Oh, also, I'll be reading the manga, and for my editor's sanity, he'll be using corresponding footage from the anime.
Cool.
Enjoy. Romance Dawn, chapters 1 to 7.
Yay!
The series begins in what I believe to be a fantastic fashion. We are shown the last king of the pirates meeting his end, Gold Roger, with his last words acting as a challenge to the rest of mankind to find his legendary treasure, the fabled One Piece. Title drop.
Title drop.
The new age of piracy kicks off, and that's when we are introduced to Luffy, our main character, as a small child.
As a kid, yeah, I didn't realize it opened like that.
His eye in the middle of a tavern full of
to
pirates
prove how strong he is.
Alright, so the promise of legendary pirate treasure, and now our main character's first action is to stab himself in the face to earn street cred. This story sure knows how to grab your attention and to set up a goal.
Yeah, I didn't realize it would be a flashback straight away.
Immediately after
Shanks.
Introduction, we are introduced to a colorful cast of pirate characters led by the endearing and fun Captain Red-Haired Shanks. Luffy and
Justin
Shanks
cool. Nice way to get his hat.
for a number of years at this point, indicated by the teasing Shanks does to Luffy and the rapport they both seem to share for each other. Luffy desperately wants to be a pirate, but concerned for his safety and considering he can't swim, Captain Shanks consistently refuses in a variety of different
I thought he could swim, but it was when he has the fruit that he can't swim. Because he doesn't he's all like, oh, you've ruined your chances now, you can't swim.
Smashed over his head.
Oh, mate, yeah.
Shanks elects to do nothing about this, and the group of thugs leave the tavern angry. This all takes place as Luffy was eating.
And he's like, why didn't you do anything, you loser?
To understand that Shanks chose not to fight for the sake of peace, Luffy becomes incredibly disillusioned at Shanks' actions.
Yeah, he's pissed off with him, isn't he?
In a huff, they discover that the fruit Luffy had eaten happened to be some of the treasure they had brought home.
The devil fruit
that now gave him the ability to stretch his limbs. With one major drawback, he is now cursed to never be able to swim.
There we go. Yeah, right.
Not exactly ideal. Some time passes, and the next day, Luffy
There's
finds
people that eat the devil
himself
fruit
alone in the
can't swim.
once again. Shanks is leaving for good this time, and Luffy is not going to see him off. He still considers him a coward for not standing up for himself, but now's his chance to restore order to the universe because that bully rolls up to the bar once again. The scene switches to the tavern lady looking for help as Luffy receives a massive beating
up,
at the hands of this thug leader by the name of Higume the Bear. And despite Luffy's
I like the wanted posters, that's cool as well. This is weird seeing the anime stuff.
Then
Shanks.
a gun gets held up to Shanks' head by one of the thugs. This leads to his crew immediately taking action.
Yep.
The quick fashion with which Shanks
Boom.
takes care of these
I was very
villain
taken
beetles
aback
is
because when you see the drawing style, you don't
However,
think it
in
can
the
get
chaos,
quite
Higume made off
as
with
adult
Luffy
in
to the harbor
the
in an
the way he
attempt to
shoots him in the head, and I was
Things
like,
are
whoa.
never as straightforward as this though, and as fast as you can blink, a sea monster erupts from the depths beneath, eating Higume and the boat itself, launching Luffy into the ocean.
Yeah.
Where he finds himself once again saved by Shanks, who in the process of saving him from
Loses his
this sea
arm?
monster loses
Yeah,
his arm.
yeah.
Feeling terrible about it, Luffy asks, "What about your arm?" Shanks responds, "It's a small price to pay. It's just an arm. I'm glad you're okay." Luffy
Which is
vows to
awesome.
be
It's like,
king of the
ugh.
pirates, and Shanks gives him his hat.
Yeah.
A hat that he says
He's
means
so
a lot
important,
to him.
yeah.
He asks him to please return it to him someday when he's become a great
Pirate, yeah.
And it's this brave individual in Shanks and his token to remember him by that influences the rest of Luffy's life. He's going to be the king of the pirates one day. He
I
will
loved
return
seeing like
Shanks' hat
the
and
one
he
where
will
I'm up
make
to
his
at the
life
moment, where it's
worth
like the
brave
shadowy
sacrifice
figures and you can
Shanks
make
made
out
for
part
him
of the
by
crew in the
finding
background. It's like,
legendary
oh,
treasure no one has been able to find. Gold Roger's
One Piece.
What a character introduction and
It's boss,
what
yeah.
an opening for this story. I sincerely loved it. Following these events, there's a bit of a time skip where we
10 years?
catch up with Luffy 10 years
Yeah,
later.
there we go.
He's grown up considerably and is
He
far more
beats the
comfortable now with his
sea
rubber man
beast.
powers. And just as determined as
There we
ever,
go.
he ventures into the ocean, completely unprepared considering he has no idea how to navigate, he can't swim, and he has no destination other than to
We're not
find
getting
and
any
recruit
mention of the
crew members
townspeople
for
that he
his
lived
ship,
with, are
which,
we?
let I remind you, he doesn't have yet. Effectively, he has nothing and is starting
Starting
with
from the
only his
bottom.
abilities and positive attitude.
He is
Things
so
quickly,
positive.
however, take a turn for the worst, as they do in One Piece, when we see Luffy sucked into a whirlpool
No.
before cutting to a young cabin boy called Kobe working under the lady pirate Iron Mace Alvida.
Oh yeah, and what they do with
Working
Alvida
for her,
is
and
cool.
in the middle of bringing a barrel that had washed up onto the beach back to base, Luffy explodes from it, and together Kobe helps Luffy navigate to where he needs to go, and Luffy helps liberate this young man from the servitude he
Yep.
despises to help him realize his dream of working for the Navy.
For the Navy,
Together,
yeah, it's
they
interesting,
overthrow
contrasting
the
thing, isn't it? I want to be a pirate, I want to work for the
commandeer
Navy.
Diggy and make headway
I like the
for a
conflict
nearby
as well, it's
naval
like,
base
but
where
one day we're
Luffy
going to be
expresses
enemies.
interest, assuming he's a good guy, in recruiting a highly infamous
Zoro.
and reputable pirate hunter that goes by the name of Zoro. Without much delay, they arrive at the naval base
Okay.
and find Zoro held captive, tied to a stake.
Is it not pronounced
starving
Solo,
himself
or am
in
I
the yard.
being...
The
Because
design
it is an
of
L,
this
isn't it?
character is, I think, fantastic.
He's
At
cool.
a glance, you can immediately tell what sort of character this guy is and the personality he possesses.
Yeah.
And when thinking back over this series so far, Oda has put a ton of care into his designs for the characters.
Definitely, you do get a good feel for what they are like by the way they look.
If someone is scared and unassuming, he emphasizes that feature.
Oh my
And in
god, yeah, the
case of
face...
Zoro, this guy
The
is
faces are really
confident and
overemphasized
damn cool.
sometimes,
Within
yeah.
moments of meeting this character, we are also introduced to the naval captain's son, Helmeppo, an incredibly selfish, cowardly, and
definitely.
irredeemable character who provides us our window into the naval base's corrupt leadership situation. Under the rule of the tyrannical
That's his
Captain
dad.
Morgan, who is
Yeah.
nothing like his son.
At
Through
all.
flashbacks, we learn what Zoro has been fighting and searching for. A promise he made to his one-time childhood rival to
That's
become
why he
the
fights
greatest
with 3
swordsman in all the
swords.
world before they died. Despite having an intimidating reputation,
'Cause he's
across
carrying
the
her
area,
dream as
the
well.
entire reason Zoro is tied up in the first place is for protecting a young girl from Captain
Yeah, it's like, what,
Morgan's
90
attack
days, is it?
dogs.
Without
Luffy
eating?
decides he likes the cut of Zoro's jib and asks him to be part of
He
his
stays there for
pirate
90 days to
crew.
leave him
However,
alone?
he quickly declines, saying that he has plans of his own, going on to explain that Helmeppo said he only has to survive 1 month for his freedom.
Oh, I thought it was 90
Luffy doesn't
days,
like
never
this,
mind.
but has to accept his decision before heading down to the
I'm sure it was
village
90
where
days,
he learns
well,
from Helmeppo himself that Zoro will be executed very soon. Enraged by this news, Luffy clobbers the obnoxious
Yeah, he does.
coward, leading to Helmeppo reporting Luffy to his father.
And he just doesn't
Evil
care, he's like, why are you telling me?
Captain Morgan. With this news, Luffy immediately runs and tries to free Zoro, but Zoro is reluctant to believe. Taking the initiative, Luffy then begins searching for Zoro's
He's like, I'll go get
famous
you
weapon,
swords, yeah.
the sword. While he's searching, Kobe reveals to Zoro that the Navy have no intention of releasing him and that he's up for execution
Yeah.
very soon. Kobe tries to free him, but it's too late. Morgan has arrived
Kobe!
with the firing squad who open fire on the two of them. Thankfully and surprisingly, falling from the sky comes Luffy.
Yay!
Who, using his amazing Rubberman powers,
So
blocks
all the bullets.
and also returns the, count 'em, 3 swords belonging to Zoro. This guy fights with 3 swords.
Yep.
No big deal. Together, they team up to fight.
Because he's
Overthrow
carrying
the
not
evil
just his
Captain
dream,
Morgan
but his
and turn the
friend's
Navy
dream
to its
along with
former
him.
glory. Kobe stays behind trying to follow his dream of becoming a naval officer, and Zoro decides to join Luffy's crew in return for saving his life.
Hell yeah, he's a pirate now.
To be the greatest swordsman to have ever lived, while also continuing his pursuit of a particular individual widely known as the greatest swordsman in the world. Orangetown.
We'll get to that in a bit.
24. This story picks up right after the events of the last one, as Zoro and Luffy float around starving because neither can navigate and neither.
Zoro got lost today, so yeah.
That is until they see a bird.
Luffy gets carried away by it.
This bird is much bigger than he first anticipated, and thus it carries him away until he reaches Orangetown, where he falls into the life of a pirate thief called
Nami.
In the middle of running away from some pirates, she swindled out of a very valuable item.
The map.
To the Grand Line. A secret but very dangerous area of the world that presumably
she's really good at navigating.
Unspeakable riches, and perhaps might even be the location of Gold Roger's legendary treasure.
Alright.
While this is all happening, Zoro discovers 3 pirates marooned on a defunct boat floating in the middle of open ocean. They explain that this random girl pretended to be starving and desperate to lure them in, and
Nami tricks everyone now. She's sneaky.
Zoro decides to help them out and brings them back to their base on Orangetown. They explain that they are part of a notorious pirate crew led by the fabled pirate captain, Buggy the Clown. Who is easily the best designed villain we have seen so far.
Dead cool design.
I absolutely adore him.
Yeah.
Anyways, after taking refuge from
I love that he's come back. I like the little story that they did on the front of each chapter as well that shows what Buggy did after they finished with him. And with Kobe as well, and Thingy's son, and then that. I like how they show the progression in just one picture on the beginning of each chapter.
Apparently, the townspeople are after moving a distance away to avoid these pirate activities too. Nami explains that she hates pirates and that once she gets 100 million berries, which I assume is their currency, she will buy, quote, a certain village. And after learning of this and her ability to navigate effectively on the open water, Luffy is excited to ask her to be part of his pirate.
I love how the story flows as well. He must have thought about it way far ahead because everything fits in, nothing feels like out of nowhere.
This exchange between the two characters of how they came to meet up is full of character and delivers exposition for the respective situations fine enough. But at this point in my read-through, I became very annoyed at a particular pattern I began to notice. Oda seems to have a particular writing quirk during this period of the story where he will naturally explain the goals, the plan, and the motivations of a particular circumstance, and that is all vital information for the reader or viewer to understand. And to be perfectly honest, he delivers it rather well. But he does this thing where he either has Luffy say he doesn't understand or wasn't listening, leading to that plan once again being repeated in much simpler terms.
I thought it was funny.
Maybe a reader wasn't listening. It honestly didn't bother me the first time I saw it, but it's starting to become a trend, and I think it shows a lack of confidence in either his writing or the reader's.
Oh right, I never looked at it like that.
Honestly, comes off as a little clunky to me.
I thought he was just trying to show Luffy's personality, where he doesn't really take everything so seriously and just very blasé and just gets on with it.
Framing and gag a lot in the story early on. Within the first 10 chapters, he must have used it dozens and dozens of times.
Didn't bother me.
But anyways, back to the story.
Yeah.
Seeing an opportunity to leverage Luffy's innocence for her own personal gain, she agrees to be Luffy's navigator on the condition he helps her with Buggy the Clown.
Yeah.
She is, of course, lying. Luffy immediately agrees, but once they arrive, she ties him up with the rope she always seems to carry with her, and offers him up to Buggy, explaining that he was her boss before expressing an interest in joining his crew instead. These are all, of course, lies to create an opportunity to nab his treasure. I honestly love Nami as a character. She feels very believable and utilizes all of her strengths to achieve what she wants.
Especially when you find out what it is that she's actually doing.
As the scene progresses, Luffy is thrown into a cage and Nami is left into Buggy the Clown's pirate crew.
Yeah.
While all of that is happening,
Nami, you have to kill this guy to
Orangetown
prove that you're part of my crew.
And together they lead him to Buggy's hideout. As things progress back at the hideout, however, it soon becomes obvious that Buggy is going to take Luffy's life. This isn't at all what Nami wanted.
Not at all. This was not the plan.
The decision to prove her loyalty by firing a cannon to wipe him off the face of the earth. She declines and begins fighting.
Yeah.
This isn't at all what she thought would happen, and she's not going to become what she hates. Things admittedly are looking pretty bad, but that's
Zoro!
Okay, that was awesome, but unfortunately Buggy's mysterious powers alluded to earlier came from consuming a similar devil fruit to what Luffy did. And so he has the ability to disassemble and reassemble himself. Due to this unexpected trait, Zoro lowers his guard long enough to sustain a serious injury. Outnumbered, trapped, and now gravely injured, Luffy and Zoro quickly come up with a plan of escape. They point the cannon at the group of pirates and when it fires, Zoro lifts the cage.
He just carries the cage, he's so sick.
A righteous bravery and selfless rescue that really takes Nami by surprise.
Yeah.
And What follows this was honestly incredibly unexpected, in a brilliant way. As Luffy and Zoro are trying to figure out their next move, after having escaped, they notice a dog.
Oh, the dog bit's so sick.
The mayor of the town, one of the last residents still in the town, explains that now the dog's master is deceased, and that his last order was for his loyal puppy
to look after the pet shop.
Store while he was gone.
Yes.
To that little dog, that building is his treasure.
Everything.
What a beautiful metaphor, and perfectly
yes, someone's treasure is a really good way of looking at it, yeah.
Particular story thread here, but the story behind it actually made me cry. I'm a sucker for a loyal dog story, and this was beautiful and tragic.
Mate, yeah, I shed a tear while reading this.
And One Piece certainly brought an end to that.
Really good at showing like stuff, making you feel stuff on those pages, man.
Buggy unleashes his subordinates to find and deal with Luffy and Zoro, the latter of whom has managed to find refuge with the mayor of the town. One of Buggy's lions happens to be a lion tamer to keep up with the circus, and despite the little dog's best efforts to protect the only thing left behind by his now deceased master, the tamer and his lion beat the living daylights out of the dog,
it's horrible.
leaving behind nothing but a burning building.
No.
I need Luffy to bring justice to the world now. And bring justice to the world, he most certainly
Come on.
does. But unfortunately, the damage has already been done. All that's left is ash and a single box of food.
So
Luffy
sad.
sits next to the little dog and gives that to him. Nami realizes in that moment that Luffy had fought the lion specifically for that little dog.
Yeah.
Throughout this arc, the through line has been the light in which Nami views Luffy. While he, having nothing to prove to her specifically, by simply being who he is, Luffy demonstrates enough to dissuade, or at the very least inject some doubt into her perceived notions about the young pirate. The remainder of
it's because he's a pirate that she's like, no.
Sacrifice and rescue, mainly by Luffy, who protects the town's mayor with the help of Nami, and a beautiful callback to the fact that she always carries rope with her, ultimately leading to Buggy's defeat. Oh, and there's this scene where Luffy kicks the disembodied groin of Buggy to stop his other body parts in their tracks, which I honestly found a little more funny than I probably should have. And to cap it all off, when the townspeople finally return to chase off the pirates, Luffy and Zoro are forced to flee. But the little dog, who was once
he stops them
towards these guys, now stands to valiantly protect them.
Oh, so cute. It's like, no, you let them go.
Little story about personal treasure, prejudice, and trust. I love it. And on top of all of that, despite not fully committing to the crew, Luffy and Zoro now have a navigator in Nami who has agreed to travel to the Grand Line together, as it's both a worthwhile endeavor and mutually beneficial. Syrup Village Arc, chapters 24 to 41. The portion of the show that I've reviewed thus far has clearly been in a casual recruitment phase wherein Luffy assembles his ragtag
so this is the next bit where they get Usopp,
accompany him on his
isn't it?
Around the world.
I think.
And this arc
here we
is
go.
no different. In the same way the last couple stories centered around the recruitment of Zoro and Nami, this one centers around the recruitment of a slingshot-wielding, troublesome town liar named Usopp. And unfortunately, of the arcs I'm covering in this video, I enjoyed this one the least. But that's not to say this
not to say it's bad. I do kind of agree with him. I thought this was a bit slow.
It's sandwiched between the last arc, which I thought was great, and the next one, which is
so good.
Really good.
So good. So good.
This particular story continues as Nami, Zoro, and Luffy are sailing along the sea in their tiny boat. They all notice a distinct lack of provisions as well as the inadequate sailing vessel they possess, and so touching down on land, they endeavor to find a remedy to all of these issues. This is when we cut to the man of the hour, Usopp, who seems to enjoy pretending that pirates are attacking.
Yeah, he's like, the pirates are attacking, the pirates are attacking. It's the boy who cried wolf story, isn't it, really? There you go. There you go.
Story, that's because it is, but with a distinct pirate twist.
I'm pretty good at this, aren't I?
He also has a small group of children that act as his pirate crew.
Yay!
But upon seeing Luffy
Usopp's
and
pirate
the gang
crew.
touch down on the beach, the children bail, leading to Usopp eventually inviting the gang for
He's
food.
such a coward as well. That's brilliant.
The town and the local affluent residents owned by a sickly young orphan named Kaya. And it turns out Usopp has a wonderful relationship with her, despite
she
him
likes
not
hearing
exactly
the lies,
well liked by
the stories and that.
The wonderful stories he fabricates for the young mistress Kaya makes her very happy, much to the dismay of her butler, Klahadore, it's a strange name, who at every turn tries to dissuade Kaya from interacting with the likes of Usopp.
He's very suspicious.
One day when Usopp, despite being told not to,
very
suspicious, to regale her once again with fantastical stories of adventure and fun. While this is happening, Luffy decides that the best course of action would be to ask Kaya for a ship himself, because that's what grown-ups do. I guess if you don't ask, you won't receive. However, by the time he arrives at the property, Klahadore is reprimanding and belittling Usopp for trespassing on her land, taking things too far by attacking attacking Usopp's personal character, and he
you're a
follows
son of a
like
filthy
to,
pirate.
some would say, a fair reaction of Usopp punching him in the face, storming off at the behest of Kaya, who got deeply upset at the violence. While this is all happening,
This guy's weird.
Django, who is heavily inspired by a certain
Michael
monster,
Jackson.
let's see if you can guess who.
Wow, that's cool that they did that in the anime. Oh, you see, I never clocked onto that in the manga.
Meanwhile, Luffy catches up to Usopp.
That's cool.
And decides to run to a secluded spot overlooking the ocean. There, he tries to console Usopp by letting him know that he knew his
He walks
father
backwards
and
all the
considered him a
time.
great man. Things are going rather smoothly until they hear chatter from down below on the beach. It's Django, the hypnotist from earlier, and Clahador, the butler. While eavesdropping from above, they overhear a sinister plot that involves taking all of Kaya's family fortune and ransacking the village. It turns out Clahador's real name is Captain Kuro, a vicious and feared pirate thought to have been sentenced to death years ago. In reality, he has been playing the
It's a really long con, isn't it? Like, I must eliminate my name.
Horrible things he's done so that he can do more unspeakable things in the future. Apparently, the plan is to hypnotize Kaya and to have her sign over her family's fortune.
Yeah, so he can be rich, and then she'll
The plan
die
is
with the
perfectly
pirate
fine, but
invasion
the way it's
at the same
delivered
time.
felt pretty unnatural and sort of clunky to me. The questions from Django felt like they were for the benefit of the viewer and reader, and something he should already have the answers to himself.
Yeah.
In other words, he shouldn't need to ask about this. Also, the odds of them choosing the spot directly beneath where Usopp and Luffy were was
Yeah.
a bit too coincidental for my taste. In addition to that super clear exposition we just received, we get Luffy saying that he can't hear what's being said, and Usopp proceeds to break down the entire
Oh, so
plot
then he
for a
repeats it.
second
You know, I don't-
time, and we have to read it or listen to it again, which I still find pretty annoying. But
No, I don't.
regardless,
It's
once
like,
Luffy is caught
I
up,
think
he
it's like,
shouts
it
down at them to
touches
not
on
do
how
the bad
stupid
thing,
Luffy
and
is, doesn't
proceeds
pay
to face
attention at the
that
right
falling
moments.
from the cliff to the ground below. Captain Kuro believes the boy to be dead and for Usopp to not have a chance at convincing anyone of anything. Despite this, Usopp tries to make haste by warning the village that pirates are coming in the morning.
And no one believes him.
They naturally don't believe
Yeah,
him.
of course.
Shock horror. Instead of cooperating, he gets chased off for his trouble and flees to Kaya's, where he tries
Is
to
it the
warn her
next
and
day
take
where
her to
he
safety.
doesn't
She
start
refuses.
shouting? Everyone's like, wait,
Shock
where's
horror.
Usopp,
Out of
man?
time
My
and
day's,
out of
I'm not getting up.
options,
Like, this
Usopp
has
is
ruined
left to
my
defend the
day.
village alone.
He's my
That is
alarm for
until
getting
Luffy
up.
and the gang offer their services. And while the action supplied for this section doesn't have disembodied nutshots on clouds, it does have Captain Kuro, who has big old cat claws and is by far the most ruthless individual we've ever met in the
So
story
far.
so far.
Yeah.
He takes himself very seriously.
He's got like a weird
and I
ability,
felt
hasn't he, where he
a
just
different tension while
goes
reading his
absolutely
character. We get some
mental.
good stuff from Nami and Zoro too, but I think my favorite aspect of this series so far is, while it has its obvious shortcomings to me, they are easily forgiven, and alongside them, Oda sprinkles moments that remind me that he knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to storytelling. For instance, during a section where Luffy is fighting Clahador, or Captain Kuro, your choice, Usopp is being carried into the forest by Zoro, chasing after the Michael Jackson-inspired pirate who is chasing after the three young boys and the young girl Kaya. He sets it up such that we are waiting for Usopp and Zoro to arrive to save the day, and so while I am watching the kids struggle and set up counterattacks against Django, I am very much waiting for Zoro and Usopp to arrive. Oda knows this, and so when they do arrive, he sneaks in a counterattack by the little kids I wasn't expecting because I was too busy waiting for Zoro and Usopp. It's these subtle Chekhov gun moments that I am honestly most impressed by. It's a very basic swerve to help deliver a conclusion to a fight, but you'd be surprised how many don't
Nice.
use it as effectively or as regularly as Oda does. The fights during this section of the story are also really well done.
Yeah,
I
the class.
very much enjoyed the colorful casting.
The character
members
design on those two is
Captain Kuro
weird.
And the challenges that they provided Luffy and the gang. On top of that, I thought the fights were served pretty well by the setting of the battle. A shorefront and a narrow slipway surrounded by forest. It's a nice little setup. I don't think Captain Kuro was as fun as Captain Buggy was,
No.
but he offered something completely
Definitely
different,
intimidating,
and, as I pointed out earlier, was far more serious in and of itself, which was very valuable. In the end, Luffy overpowers and outmaneuvers the crazed Captain Kuro.
Boom,
with
that looks
Usopp
amazing.
Joining Luffy's crew. He promises to one day return to Kaya and to regale her with tons of true and fantastical stories. As a thanks for their valiant efforts, Kaya supplies them with their very own ship to sail across the sea, complete with provisions. We also get one last tidbit of information about Usopp's past, also regarding his mother and the origin behind why he cries pirate. And this is an aspect of this series I've been very much impressed by, and that's its willingness and determination to make you care about these individual
Yeah, everyone's got a reason for what they do. I love it. It's boss.
Band of would-be pirates. Through their respective debut arcs, whether it be Luffy himself, Zoro, Nami, or Usopp, any and every character Oda adds to the group is thoroughly explored and understood by the reader or viewer first and foremost.
They're not just
before
thrown
they
in.
join the ranks. So, in terms of character writing, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing so far.
Boss, it's
and
absolute
I can't
boss.
wait to see who's joining the crew next. The Baratie arc.
Yay!
Chapters 42
This was
68.
amazing.
This will be the final arc I'll be discussing today, and of the arcs I have read through, this was by far my favourite. But before I start, I should say that this arc was so insanely dense with stuff happening that I've had to omit certain parts and quickly go over others to make room for what I thought to be the most important aspects of this story.
Okay.
So let's jump in. While playing with the new cannon on this fancy new
yeah.
ship they've acquired, the crew end up discovering two individuals.
We were
Zuko
on
and
the...
Johnny,
Oh yeah, the bounty hunters,
the
yeah.
effects of scurvy. This incident brings to the crew's attention that they require a cook aboard this ship. They eventually come across an
Squeeze some limes and they're like, we're okay now,
after they
yeah.
accidentally deflect the cannonball onto the premises, causing a lot of damage, leading to Luffy having to pay off the damages by means of working in their kitchens. Inside
For
this
a
restaurant,
year.
we get introduced to the various
That's what
wacky
he's
and
told.
oftentimes aggressive cooking staff aboard the Baratie, as well as the head chef Zeph, a former pirate that has settled down as the owner of
Oh my
this
god, the
restaurant,
backstory
and a
on him.
particularly interesting character named Sanji, another chef
Sanji,
working
and
at the restaurant who happens to be a very capable fighter too, sporting what I believe to be a genius character design.
His
and
boss.
personally, he has a dream of one day finding the all blue
The all blue.
However, he remains committed to the kitchen and the restaurant for reasons he refuses to share.
But we do
And
find
despite
out.
his abrasive relationships
Oh, it's
with the majority
emotional.
of the staff working there, insists on remaining in the Baratie. He's also a sucker for the ladies, so
Yeah,
I
he
hope
is.
that gag
Ooh,
doesn't
Nami.
get old too
Ooh.
fast.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Once everyone settles down,
He does
someone
every
bursts
time you
through
meet
the
a
door
girl,
of
it's
the
like,
dining hall,
ooh, hearts
announcing
all
that
over the
captain has
page.
escaped, followed by that man doing the fall down dance and the captive rolling up to a chair demanding to be fed. This man's name is Geen, and he gets pulverized and reprimanded for these actions by the restaurant staff. However, not liking the thought of anyone going hungry, Sanji, in privacy, gives
Feeds
Geen
him, yeah.
food for free. Apparently, this is a trend with him, and naturally, Luffy wants him to join his crew as their cook. But he refuses, citing that he has his own reasons to stay. During this conversation, Luffy explains that he has plans of traveling to the Grand Line, which piques Geen's interest, leading him to warn Luffy never to go there.
Yeah, it's a dangerous
After
place,
this
man.
generosity from Sanji, Geen ends up leaving, but quickly returns, bursting through
This
the
was
door
a
with
bad
the most feared
idea.
man in all of East Blue on
Bad
his shoulder,
idea.
the head honcho of an armada consisting of 50 ships, the feared Don Krieg. However, now on the verge of death, his fleet almost gone, and his flagship in tatters. He's here, but
who
only
did
after
it?
barely managing
Who
to
did
return
it?
from a 7-day trip to
Oh.
the Grand Line. During a
Whoa.
massive storm, he gets down onto his hands and knees, begging for food and pity.
Don't
And
believe him, he's a
eventually,
liar.
Sanji shows mercy and feeds him, much to the chagrin of
No,
the
you
fellow cooks.
fool.
After receiving this food and regaining his strength, Krieg immediately beats Sanji to the floor.
No.
There's nothing likable about that, and it's honestly a great villain introduction.
Yes, it is.
But he's not done. Much like he was, his crew is in a shambles
It's like,
and in
feed my
desperate need
crew.
of food. He wants to feed them and essentially take over the Baratie Restaurant ship. He also expresses and reveals that Chef Zeph was once an incredible pirate who managed to successfully navigate and survive on the Grand
So
Line
he must
for a
have
year.
something
Unable
that
to do that
helps.
himself, Krieg wants that logbook of Zeph's trip to help him on his next trip on the Grand Line. This is great because all the people we've met on this journey up to this point have brought up the Grand Line in one form or
another, yeah.
Towards the very beginning, it was a place only suicidal fools traveled to. Then, Buggy had planned to go there with his map. Luffy got the map, and now we've met our very first person to have actually
Been
gone
there.
there and returned. And he barely made it out alive. This is a wonderful progression.
It's cool,
because
it's
that
cool.
is
It's like,
measured
ooh.
in the goal we are
So you
working
have to
towards,
be
the Grand
like
Line.
really
Excellent point.
decent to
Geen
get
is
in there
honestly
and
taken aback by all of this
survive
and
it.
apologizes profusely for bringing this upon everyone at the Baratie. But Zeph, the head chef, gives Krieg food for his crew, much once again to the chagrin of his various employees. He doesn't want them to go hungry either. Don Krieg then leaves to feed his crew, while the rest of the staff aboard the Baratie, consisting largely of fighters and ruffians, begin readying themselves for battle. However, just as soon as they hear Krieg's army of crewmen coming, a massive attack slices the flagship of Don Krieg in half. Completely taken aback by the thunderous sound, they run outside to find Osaku and Johnny in the water as well as the destroyed ship of Krieg's. The two explain that they are in the water not because of what just happened, but because Nami threw them out and made
stole the
off with
ship.
their ship,
Yep.
eyeballing a certain bounty list in their possession. Naturally, everyone is shocked by this.
Which is
What's
nice, though, 'cause
worse
it ties
is that
into
they
the
have
next
someone
story arc.
much more dangerous
Oh
than Don
my
Krieg to contend
God.
with right now. Slowly approaching their ship is a shadowy figure that Zeph recognizes. Geen explains that while they were on the Grand Line, on the 7th day, Krieg's armada was destroyed by
one man.
And that if that massive storm hadn't come, their flagship would most definitely have fallen too.
Mihawk.
Apparently an individual that goes by the moniker Hawkeye is responsible for Krieg's current state of affairs. And it just so happens that this is the same someone Zoro has been looking
Hell
for
yes.
for many years. First of all, I want to say I friggin' love Hawkeye's design here. Just had to get that out. And his introduction is honestly spectacular. It's explained that he's been chasing down Krieg's crew for pretty much fun. They quickly try to shoot him, but Zoro pops up from the crowd and says that bullets won't work. That he'll
It has to be a sword.
He also announces that he's been looking for him, that he wants to be the best, and
Great,
that
the greatest swordsman.
Hawkeye can fight him, pointing his sword directly towards the greatest swordsman in the world. Hawkeye, in response
Stop
to this,
calling him
asks where he
Hawkeye.
gets
His name's Mihawk.
to point this sword. Does it come from confidence or ignorance? Zoro succinctly replies, "It comes from ambition and a promise I made to a friend." Incredible line. We then switch
He just uses a tiny little
Nami sailing over
dagger.
crying, hoping that they'll meet again. She laments, "I can't wait to be free." There are so many moving parts to this story, and I have no idea what's going on.
It's
I
boss, because
honestly
it makes
don't know
sense when
what
it
to
eventually
expect.
progresses, and it's like,
Accepting
oh.
his challenge, Hawkeye whips out a tiny knife, saying, "I'm not the kind of fool who hunts rabbits with a cannon."
Yeah.
Upon reading
Bam.
that line, my mouth fell open, and I had to run around the house showing people that line. It might very well be the most Chad thing I've ever read
It
in
is
my life.
Chad,
He
isn't
explains
it?
that the Red Line and Grand Line split the seas into four: the East, the South, the North, and the West Blue. Going on to say that East Blue, their area,
Where
is the
they're at.
tamest of the four seas, and that tiny knife is the smallest blade he has. Speaking directly at Zoro,
He stops
says,
all three
"It's time
swords
you
with
learn
it."
How big the world is." They begin to fight, but Zoro is easily
There we go.
outclassed. He thinks back to the promise he made to that friend when he was a kid to be the greatest swordsman. Hawkeye stabs him in the chest. Zoro still refuses.
He still
to
goes,
retreat
he still
to
keeps
safety
fighting, he's
because to
still
retreat
determined.
means defeat, and he'd rather die than to accept that. In doing this, he earns Hawkeye's respect, leading him to bring out his best weapon, a large black sword.
Oh, it's
Zoro
so
tries again
cool.
to defend himself, but his swords shatter. Now completely unarmed, he stands facing the greatest swordsman alive, leaving himself
Yeah,
now
doesn't he say, like, he doesn't...
open, as a wound to the
It's...
back is a disgrace.
There we
to a
are.
great
That's the
swordsman.
one, wound to the back
Hawkeye
is a disgrace,
recognizes
yeah.
his efforts, slashing him to the floor. However,
But it keeps him
impressed
alive.
by his honor and bravery, Hawkeye allows Zoro to live. He wants him to travel far and wide to hone his skills and to try to defeat him once again. He thanks Luffy for allowing his crewmate to fight his fight without getting involved, asking him what his dream is. Luffy responds
King of Pirates.
to be the Pirate King. Hawkeye says that's even more perilous than trying to surpass me. Zoro lifts his sword to the air and vows to never lose
So
again.
cool.
Luffy is honestly happy to see him move and to see that hunger swell within him once again. I love Hawkeye as a character. His design is exceptional.
He's very
honestly
interesting.
Perfect for the setting.
Very
and the ship he sails
powerful.
directly reflects his philosophy. He's not brash or a show-off. He's just phenomenal and recognizes true ambition and dedication in others. And with that, we've finally gotten our first taste of what lies beyond the safety of the East Blue Sea. After this altercation, Johnny, Usopp, Yosuke, and a beaten-up Zoro decide to follow after the trail of Nami's commandeered ship. Luffy, on the other hand, has elected to stay, and thus will have to find them after he...
Well, he has to,
finishes
it's like he needs to
business
pay off his debt.
Once again, after a series of creative and unusual character introductions and fights involving Don Krieg, his pirate crew, and a new character called Invincible Pearl, who also works under Don Krieg,
Invincible Pearl
Luffy
was
and Sanji
weird.
finally start to gain the upper hand when...
Gino.
It catches me once again completely off guard with Gin taking action like this, demonstrating to me that he knows exactly what he's doing as a mangaka when it comes to creating surprise and tension in a scene. Gin's been seen largely as a voice of reason amidst the ranks of Don Krieg, and so we, or at the very least I, put him to the back of my head as someone who's not really a threat, but he is still
Yeah, I kind of did that as well. I just
so
forgot
this
about him,
makes
and then he comes out of
complete
nowhere, and it's like,
sense for
oh
him to get
god.
involved here in this situation. I'm honestly loving this. He demands Sanji to leave the ship, but he refuses. Invincible Pearl gathers himself again and attacks
Bang.
Sanji, who is now extremely beaten, still refuses to leave, citing that he's taken everything from that old man, referring to the owner Zed.
Flashback,
He's taken
flashback,
his
this is
strength
amazing.
And his dreams, swearing that he won't let anything else be lost. Hearing this, Krieg's forces once again blindside Sanji, landing a massive attack on the young man. We are then greeted by a flashback from Sanji's
Yay,
past,
this is so sad.
taking us 9 years prior to the events of today, as Sanji is a young cook's apprentice on a ship. He's discussing his dream of finding the All Blue
The All
Sea,
Blue for
a
all the
legendary
fish in
place
that.
might not exist, and is said to have the best fish to cook. Suddenly, their ship gets pillaged by Captain Zeph's crew on the return from the Grand Line. However, things suddenly take a turn.
I think that we're not mentioning as well as like Captain Zeph is called Redfoot something or other, isn't he? Known for his kicks. And that's why Sanji kicks. And that adds to the backstory that's happening now.
To a small island that the two have washed up on.
I think that's an important thing that needs to be mentioned.
So they should both go to either side of the
There is
island
Red Boot Chef or something like that.
He places a small sack of food in front of Sanji, explaining that this is his bag of food and that this larger bag is his because he's bigger and therefore needs it.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Despite having this bag, we later see Zeph in isolation on the other side of the island, taking action into his own hands, beating his own foot with a rock. Sanji, still deeply spiteful of Zeph, but now on his own side, reckons with proper rationing the supply can last 20 days. Unfortunately, days 25, 30, 50, and
he makes it last.
Pass by with only one opportunity presenting itself during impossible weather conditions. At this stage, about to starve, Sanji decides to go to the other side to see if Zeph's situation
but the bag has not been touched.
He took more food after all, and he sees the bag hasn't changed size. Once Sanji cuts the bag, it's revealed that it's full of treasure and no food. Sanji then approaches Zeph to find that he's nothing but skin and bone. Missing the lower half of his leg, he cut it off to survive just that little bit longer, giving all of the food to Sanji.
Yep.
Zeph remarks that he liked Sanji because he had the same dream.
The same dream for the All Blue, yeah.
The All Blue. On day 85, the two were rescued. Zeph saved Sanji's life.
Yeah.
After this, the flashback
ends,
and Sanji stands up and declares that he will defend him with his life and repay his debt. The final fight that takes place utilizes all the strengths and weaknesses of both the villains and the heroes, feeding into dramatic character choices, demonstrations, failings, and successes. To say that this is the biggest and most climactic fight attempted by One Piece so far would be an understatement.
Definitely.
And if the runtime of this video is any indication, my ability to break down the nuance and style this particular arc graces us with is clearly lacking. And that's not even to mention the choreography, angles, and framing that this final section of the story.
Mate, some of the manga panels were just like, whoa, we get like the double page one where it's like,
ah. It would be about 2 hours long, and I wouldn't be able to release a follow-up for a month. So, with that in mind, let's try to wrap things up.
We had the explosive axe things that he had.
Luffy defeat the forces of Don Krieg, later getting carried off by Gin, who thanks both Luffy and Sanji for having saved and spared his life. The following day after the events, Luffy wakes up and both he and Sanji make their way to the dining hall to have some grub. The soup, prepared by Sanji, has everyone in the building gagging.
Yeah, they're lying to him, aren't they? Because they want to try and force him out.
Naturally gets extremely angry at everyone for treating him like this. He confronts Chef Zeph about it too, leading to the chef punching him in the face. You'll never be able to cook like me. I've cooked on all the oceans of the world, he says. Sanji then storms off, and that's when everyone explains that they've done all this to try and convince Sanji to leave with Luffy, to follow his dream. Sitting outside the doorway, Sanji hears all of this transpire. Luffy says that he won't take Sanji with him, that he needs to
decide by himself, yeah.
To all of this,
which I thought was cool as well. Luffy doesn't just force anyone to do anything, it has to be his own shit.
Sky crashing into the room where Luffy and the others are. In the mouth
the bounty hunter
is Yosuke, who was last seen in the boat with Usopp, Zoro, and his brother Johnny, explaining that if his calculations are correct, he can take Luffy to where Nami was heading. They decide to go, but
fantastic story progression. Let's go!
Says that he wants to join them on their adventure and follow his dreams. Luffy rejoices and begins making his way out.
So cool.
Before following the others, Sanji addresses everyone and lets them know that he's aware that they all pretended not to like his soup. As he gets ready, Sanji reflects on his life up until now, how they opened the shop together, how they came to employ all these colourful characters.
Yeah, nice little flashbacky moments in the thing. Yeah, we have the black pages to show that it's a flashback.
Small boat where Luffy is waiting. Everyone is there to watch him leave. The two main chefs try to attack him, but they had no chance.
No chance.
No one else makes a single sound. No goodbyes or anything. Luffy asks if he wanted to say goodbye, but Sanji says no. And that's when Chef Zeph says, "Hey Sanji, keep your feet dry." A beautifully subtle callback to how he saved him when he fell overboard as a child. Hearing this, Sanji breaks down crying and shouts out that he owes his life to Zeph and that he will miss them all. The rest shout the same back to him, and it's a beautiful way to cap off this arc and this video. The level of attention to detail and commitment to fun Oda is having with this story borders on pathological levels of dedication. For instance, I didn't even mention yet, or notice for that matter, up until chapter 39, that the pieces of cover art
that's what I was talking about, yeah.
For each individual chapter actually tells their own
another stories, yeah.
The story being Buggy the Clown's escapades after meeting Luffy for the first time. It's hilarious, and
and then after that's done, we have Kobe in that. Yeah, it's brilliant. There's so much stuff going on.
Oda can be best summed up by this this piece of information my editor shared with me about him. From a very early age, he had a comprehensive grasp of this story, including designs for characters, islands, cultures, and political factions. And perhaps my most favorite aspect of him and this story is that from the moment he started, he's known exactly how he's going to finish.
That's crazy.
And now over 20 years into the future, he still has yet to end this mammoth of a journey. I can't wait to
approaching the end though,
on
isn't
this
it?
spectacular adventure, but something tells me I haven't seen anything yet.
Oh my
and
god.
My adventure is only just beginning. I've been Totally Not Mark. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.
So I've read 100 chapters. I've read a couple more, I can't quite remember. So I think I can watch part 2, but I'll give it like a few days, and then as I'm going through it, like I said, because I'm really enjoying it, as I'm going through One Piece, I'll watch stuff that's related to like the parts I'm up to in that, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you guys are enjoying this as well, because you guys have been asking me for like about 2 years now. It's been about that goddamn long. So there we go, and I will be checking out his Hunter x Hunter reviews in between as well, because I've seen all Hunter x Hunter and read like parts of the manga and that, so that's cool. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below. Let me know that you're watching, discussing future videos, and also you guys. See you guys next time. Oh my god, I really need to pee.